At 6 a.m. on August 11, 1908, the area surrounding Muzaffarpur jail was unnaturally silent. British officials were finalizing preparations for an execution. The prisoner was a teenager named Khudiram Bose. He was 18 years old. The British colonial government decided to hang him because they believed a public display of lethal force would serve as a deterrent. They wanted to show the growing revolutionary movement in Bengal exactly what happened to those who took up arms against the crown. This strategy relied on the prisoner showing fear, but Bose's response to the gallows was so unexpected that it effectively stripped the execution of its intended psychological weight. The path to this gallows began 3 years earlier, in 1905, with Lord Curzon's Partition of Bengal. The administrative split was seen by the local population as a deliberate attempt to weaken Indian nationalism, and it triggered a massive wave of anti-British sentiment. Many young men became disillusioned with the slow pace of the Indian National Congress's moderate factions. They began joining secret societies like Jugantar and the Anushilan Samiti, which advocated for militant nationalism rather than petitions. Their primary target was Douglas Kingsford, a magistrate who had become a symbol of colonial oppression. Kingsford was known for handing down draconian sentences to political workers, including ordering the public whipping of a 16-year-old for shouting Bande Mataram in court. On April 30, 1908, Bose and another revolutionary, Prafulla Chaki, threw a bomb at a carriage they believed was carrying Kingsford as it left a local club. The attack failed. Kingsford wasn't in the carriage. Instead, the blast killed the wife and daughter of a British barrister. This unintended collateral damage gave the British government the legal and moral grounds they needed to move quickly. They used the tragedy to justify a policy of total suppression against the revolutionary societies. The bombing triggered an immediate and massive security response. British forces locked down the railways and began a manhunt that mobilized soldiers and police across the region. After walking 25 miles barefoot, Bose was eventually cornered at Wainey Station. When he was apprehended, he was carrying 37 rounds of ammunition, a map of the railway, and 30 rupees in cash. Historical accounts from the arrest mention a detail that unsettled the officers. Bose wasn't shaking or begging for his life. Witnesses noted he appeared remarkably calm, even cheerful, as he was taken into custody. The British legal team prepared a trial meant to project the absolute authority of the empire. They expected a public confession and a show of remorse to break the momentum of the revolutionary underground. By refusing to play the role of the broken prisoner, Bose began to shift the narrative. His lack of fear suggested that the threat of death was no longer an effective tool for maintaining colonial order. When the judge pronounced the death sentence, he was so struck by Bose's lack of reaction that he asked the boy if he understood the meaning of the words. Bose smiled and replied that he understood perfectly. British officials expected his final request to be a plea for mercy or a meeting with his sister, but his actual response was far more confrontational. Bose told the court that if the government gave him the time, he could teach them how to manufacture bombs. It was a final, public rejection of the court's authority. On August 11th, witnesses described Bose walking to the gallows with a copy of the Bhagavad Gita and a smile. He maintained that composure until the moment the execution was carried out. While the Muzaffarpur mission had been a tactical failure, Bose's conduct converted his death into a piece of powerful folklore. His image as a fearless teenager became a narrative that the British administration could not contain through traditional policing. The execution failed to stop the unrest. Instead, the story of the smiling martyr spread through student groups and secret societies, providing a specific example of how to face the state. This shift is reflected in the trajectory of the freedom struggle. As young activists became increasingly disillusioned with the slow pace of moderate petitioning, the center of gravity in Indian nationalism began to move toward the militant idealism practiced by Bose and his contemporaries. The imagery of his final walk, the smile and the Gita, became a reference point for subsequent generations. This specific style of defiance was adopted by figures like Bhagat Singh and Chandrasekhar Azad, who cited Bose's sacrifice as direct inspiration. The British government executed Khudiram Bose to instill fear, but his reaction to the gallows achieved the opposite. His death provided the movement with a martyr whose story would be used to recruit and radicalize thousands of others over the coming decades.